There are three different ways to declare a variable in JavaScript, using const, var, or let. Let's talk about why you should use one or the other. I guess one or the other or the other. In 2015, ES6 was introduced, and our lives changed for the better. If anyone's a developer that only has experienced ES6, just be happy. ES6 is the dream. ES5, we were sad. Now we have these beautiful creatures called const and let, when before we only had var. Var actually barely is used anymore. Most developers out there will advise you to never use it ever again, throw it in the trash, in the garbage, and I completely agree.
The reason var is no longer suggested for use is because var is function scoped, not block scoped. But what does function scope mean? It means a variable can be accessed throughout the function regardless if it was declared in a block or not. Whereas block scoped, a variable is only accessible within the block it was declared. Let's go through some code to explain exactly what I mean. This is a code block. A code block is anything inside of curly braces. This whole thing here is a function. We've declared a variable called apple inside of the code block. This will behave differently for const, var, and let scenarios. In our code, we've defined apple using var, and when we print this to the console, we can see that apple is defined. This is because var variables are function scoped, not block scoped. So even if a variable is defined in a block like this, you're still able to reference it within that function. This is the number one reason why not to use var. You can introduce quite a bit of bugs into your code this way. A rule of thumb is to focus on tightly scoping your variables, which we can easily do with const and let. If we change this to let, and then we run using node again, we'll see the error that apple is not defined. We'll go through the same thing for const, change it to const instead of let, and run this using node, and we'll see the same error that apple is not defined. Let's go through the differences between var, let, and const. Var and let can be overwritten, while const cannot, since it's a constant. Var is function scope, let and const are not. Const must be declared when defined, var and let do not have to be. Let's put this to use. We'll create a constant called const test and attempt to overwrite it. We'll run the file, and we'll see the error that you cannot override a constant. We'll do the same thing with let, and then we'll attempt to override the variable. And you can see that it's possible.
The difference between const and let is that const always stays the same, where let you can override. Most of the JavaScript population will say const is the best thing to use. Only use let when you absolutely have to use let. Future devs might not know that the variable is redefined later below, whereas if you use const, future devs will always know this is what the variable is. Say you live with a roommate and your roommate just reorganized your kitchen. Your roommate put a label on the miscellaneous drawer. They called it misc. If they went into the drawer, they would know exactly where the label is. They would know where everything is in that drawer. However, you came in and you put a different label over the top of it. You called it stuff. Your roommate goes to find the misc drawer and they don't see their label and they get very confused. That's the whole reason why we shouldn't be using let. And really, if there ever is a scenario where you have to use let, have to. You always want to try and think, do I really need it? Is it really necessary? Because typically it's not.